by increasing the pressure in the air springs, you can actually make the tail virtually completely rigid. Or you can loosen up, say, just one segment. The other segment. There's the control for the tail springs and also the tail itself. These lower two regulators actually control the pressure going to the tail. There are two needle valves ahead of it, so we can vary the speed of the compression or the speed of the air going to it. Pressure gauges. This is an inlet pressure gauge being fed from a scuba tank, and we have another pressure regulator here which right now is feeding the controller for the tail. What this does is it basically lets me control the two pneumatic cylinders that drive the tail. Here are the cylinders right now as they're set up to drive the tail. These were the original cylinders that we used for the water drive. That's why you see the large fitting on the back end where we actually would run a, I believe it's an 1.25 inch port so that you would have minimum resistance in the tube going to the cylinder. When we're not using that, we plug them and just feed it through the normal port on the cylinder. These two little vent holes would actually go to an air chamber to recycle the air in and out as the cylinders operate so that you don't suck in water into the cylinders when they're operating. And then there's one on each side, and they're actually connected to the steering segment of the tail. This would have a separate lever controlling it in order to steer the whole tail while it's still flapping side to side. This is where the air cylinder is hooked up right now. And that's how it drives the tail. There's one on the other side. The rubber bumpers allow me to limit the stroke of the cylinder. You can put different length bumpers or shims on there, and that will limit the or control the amplitude of the tail. We can also vary the spacer block on the tail segment right here, or this one, and that also will limit the amount of travel that the tail or the middle segment has. So there's a little bit more flexibility in tuning the tail for optimal use.